news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good afternoon to you and welcome to your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM for today, Monday, April 18th, 2022. My name is Joshua Van Slegman and a happy Easter Monday to you. Let's get to the news in details. Back in 2016, Guyana had signed a production sharing agreement with ESSO, which holds a 45% stake in the Stabroek Block, along with its partners, Hess Corporation Guyana and the China National Offshore Oil Company. ESSO is incorporated in a known tax haven, the Bahamas, with a registered office in Guyana, and is the company commonly referred to as ExxonMobil Guyana, the operator of the Stabroek Block. To date, the expenditure for which the company deducts through its sale, or as much as 75% of the crude produced in the Stabroek Block, has in large part remained in the domain of its partners and has never been shared publicly. A study on Guyana's oil and gas industry and the economies involved by Tom Sanzolo, Director of Financial Analysis for the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, has uncovered that EEPGL, in fact, pays its parent company ExxonMobil Corp, based on Texas, USA, a hefty parent company overhead fee, PCO. According to Sanzolo, in his analysis, EEPGL prior to 2020 paid over $73 million in PCO fees to its parent company. Sanzolo in his July 2021 report said that EEPGL paid ExxonMobil Corp $35 million in 2020 and in 2021. It will fork out in 2021 $39 million in PCO fees. This year, Sanzolo predicts that fees being paid to the U.S.-based parent company will increase to $53 million and then $64 million the following year. Slated to collect $93 million in 2024, it would mean that by the end of the next 3 years, ESSO would have paid over to the Texas-based ExxonMobil Corp almost $500 million in fees. This newscast had reported that Sanzolo, in his findings, had found out that another of these expenditures for which Guyana is being charged a hefty amount relates to the interest being charged on the loans contracted by ESSO. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. Prominent engineer Charles Sohan has flayed government's promises to build an airport at Rose Hall and a stadium and hotel at Palmyra, saying that the economy and the anticipated air traffic in the region cannot justify these projects. During a cabinet outreach last week, both President Irfan Ali and Vice President Barrett Jagdeo made the announcement of the mega projects aimed at appeasing its base that it's still reeling from the government's failure to reopen the closed sugar estates promised during the campaigns in 2022. While addressing members of the Region 6 business community at the Classic International Hotel and Resort in Skeldon last week Sunday, Jagdeo said that the government has taken all the lands from Gaisuka around the village and behind the Indian Arrival Monument for the stadium. Construction works are expected to commence before year-end. Only last week, economist Raymond Gaskin reminded that there are several areas, some dealing with life and death situations, that the government should address before spending on major investments that do not directly and immediately improve the quality of citizens' life. Gaskin expressed concern that Guyanese are still burdened by the mere $44,200 minimum wage, which the government has not yet approved, despite the awful effects felt by the globally influenced high cost of living. Attorney at law Christopher Ram is not only viewing the recent change to Parliamentary's Public Account Committee quorum as a disregard for transparency. He believes that this recent act to increase the minimum numbers of persons required for the oversight meetings is another blow to the constitutional rights of citizens to be informed. Ram has been among the numerous professionals and civil society voices critical of government's posture regarding the availability of information. Given the PSC change, he said that the motion is another move unsupportive of the 10 tenets of democracy. He added that while transparency is affected by the change to the PSC structure, it is merely incidental given the real issue which speaks to the violation of the citizens' constitutional rights. Hundreds of workers at the Iflut Sugar Estate continue to be worried about their future as the factory remains closed over a month after the mill broke down. As a result, the workers have not been earning and the government is at pains to provide such cushion to their woes. During a meeting with workers last Friday, President Irfan Ali announced that the estate would find alternative work for 6 days per week on a short-term basis for the sugar workers. He said that while the estate is trying its utmost best to resume grinding on a normal level, it continues to be plagued by issues within its gear. To remedy this, the government has already procured another piece of equipment that will be delivered in July. While the government waits, he said, they are working on finding a factory in Miami that has similar facilities. Even though the bulk of this year's budget is channeled to the energy sector in a bid to hopefully ease the electricity woes the country continues to grapple with, GPL is moving in the direction of purchasing power to add the national grid. GPL on Sunday said it is hunting for independent power producers that can supply 50 megawatts of electricity to the national grid by March next year. This year, government allocated $29.4 billion to the energy sector. Major allocations within this amount include $20.8 for the Gas Assure project and $1.4 billion for the 33 megawatts solar farm for Berbice, Essequibo, and Linden. A 54-year-old businessman died on Saturday after he was struck down by a motorcycle along the 1st Avenue, Bartica, Region 7. He was identified as Permnot Prasad of Hubu Bakdam Purika, East Bank, Essequibo. On Saturday around 22 hours 10, he was standing on the western side of the 1st Avenue when a speeding motorcyclist lost control of his bike and crashed into him. As a result, he was pitched onto the paved road where he sustained multiple injuries, leaving him unconscious. According to police, the motorcyclist is a 19-year-old minder and was reportedly speeding north with a pillion rider. They too sustained injuries after the collision. Police were summoned to the scene and the 3 men were picked up and rushed to the Bartica hospital. Prasad was pronounced dead on arrival and the motorcyclist and his pillion rider were treated and sent away. And with that, we've come to the end of your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. My name is Josh Van Slegman. Thank you for joining us.